In this episode of the All Access Automation podcast, I was joined by the Director of Product Strategy at Appian, Karina Buschsieweke. In the episode, we explored the importance of sustainability and innovation and how the technology plays such a pivotal role in driving change within business. We also discuss how key it is to identify the root cause before implementing any immediate solutions with automation and AI. I hope you all enjoy. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the All Access Automation podcast with Roboyo. I'm delighted to be joined by Karina today, working for Appian as a Director of Product. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thanks. Nice to be here.
How are you today?
Oh, good.
Good.
It's a lovely day in Barcelona.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. We could be in worse places, I think. So we're back in the lovely studio here, and we had a couple of podcasts here before as well. So delighted to be back. But yeah, how's your week been so far? Are you looking forward to All Eyes on Automation?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be an interesting event, and looking forward to be on that stage in that cinema. So
exactly, it's going to be a really cool venue, and of course, as you touched upon, you have a keynote speech.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm. So is it tomorrow, Wednesday, you're doing yours?
Yeah, Wednesday, 10 a.m.
Very good,
10:30.
very good. So yeah, there's going to be plenty to discuss today. You have a really interesting career and background that we'll get into, and we'll touch on your role within Appian as well, and also we'll kind of talk a bit about your keynote speech, but also key trends for the future and what we need to kind of keep an eye out for, I suppose, in the world of intelligent automation and continuous improvement in general. So I suppose just to kind of touch on the keynote speech that's coming up, do you want to give a bit of a background about what kind of the main insights into that?
Oh yeah, sure. So the keynote is called Back to the Future of Automation, A Journey Beyond Efficiency. And we're going to look at continuous improvement, actually. And one of the main actors in the continuous improvement history is Toyota, of course, which has been a great example of how applying this methodology can lead to great success. And using this example and apply it also to our current state, where we can use a lot of technologies to actually support us in the continuous improvement process in order to be as efficient as we can be. But then also looking at it from a bit more high-level perspective, because the inefficiencies that we have in our economic system are huge. 20 to 30% of revenue of companies are wasted in inefficiencies. In different industries, there are exorbitant numbers of waste. And that's a side effect that our current economic system produces. And we really have a responsibility to mitigate these effects, right? And that's then the sustainability aspect behind it that has a very clear business aspect. I mean, you're losing money on the one hand, but on the other hand, there's also really this responsibility that I think every organization has, to mitigate the effects that their organizational system in that sense also produces. So, and I think we can, use technologies in many ways in order, to work on these.
Very good. And how do you think, I suppose, from a technology perspective, how we kind of help those clients get over those issues and inefficiencies?
Well, that's where I think we sometimes might have to take a step back from technology. It's not starting with automation, but it's about a mindset, like a cultural change in the organization, a dedication to excellence, to always improving, to continuous learning. And that's, I think in many organizations, this idea exists, and of course, they're trying to implement practices to do that. But in the end, it's not the top priority, right? There's not many CEOs that will tell you continuous improvement is one of their top priorities, but I think in a certain way it should, because it has a much broader effect and is one thing that companies need in these days to stay agile. It's also about really being able to to flexibly change when the conditions are changing as well. And continuous improvement is a methodology that also enables organizations to develop skills to constantly change. And that's on a broader level, of course, important.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting what you said about the shift in mindset that needs to happen, where you're not coming at it where I have an automation tool and I want to make it work wherever I go, but you have to look at it from a more holistic view where you see, okay, let's streamline the process. Let's make sure that there's no inefficiencies first. Look at it from that perspective and then say, okay, how can automation improve this even more?
Exactly. And maybe sometimes it's not automation that will improve it, right?
Exactly,
I mean, let's stay open to the solution.
Yeah. Definitely. And I suppose from a Roboyo perspective and having the Lean and the Six Sigma capabilities is just the foundation of everything, really. And I suppose to kind of get that stage first, that could be the solution, or could be a kind of a step towards the final solution. So yeah, I think it's a great point.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you talk about the sustainability side of the solution, what do you kind of mean by that?
Well, I mean, as I try to point out, it's this general idea that we have to reduce waste. Like we shouldn't have any inefficiencies in terms of resource waste or energy waste, or there are many even like bad working conditions, like all kinds of negative effects. Like why should we accept those? Like as a very basic question, you know, like why you as an employee, why me as a consumer, why are we accepting these effects? And that's why I mean, like, we need to dedicate to mitigate these effects, all these bad effects that our economic system has. And that's why I think that that's like in the broader sense of sustainability, that is where we need to get to, like the net zero goals that we have for the climate, for example. I mean, they're there for a reason. How do you want to get there? Currently, companies are not even able to measure the impact that they have on the environment. Like if I ask the producer of this cup how much CO2, you know, was produced or like was emitted. Thank you. They will not know because the data is not really available. The procedures are not standardized, and that is also something, you know, you can't improve what you can't measure. I mean, such a good thing to say about this, because that's where we need to start, and that's also why it's so important to start with getting data right, getting processes right. That's the basis to be able to improve, because we need to measure anything first. And I think that's where we can combine technology for the sake of sustainability, as we make it measurable and thus lay the basis to improve it.
No, I think it's a great point that you make about combining both and making sure that everything is I suppose as lean as possible first of all, and then kind of seeing where we can go from there to mitigate those sustainability impact, I suppose. From an Appian perspective, or from a technical perspective in general, do you think that you mentioned the clients that maybe aren't aware of the CO2 emissions that maybe their product produced, but do you think that the conversation around sustainability is something that has maybe grown, I suppose, but do you feel it's something that's still kind of not spoken about enough with the clients when we're in those discussions with them?
No, I think clients are generally very open and interested in solutions in that regard. But again, what is the priority of the business, right? So it might be a priority here and there, but usually that's not the core of your business operations. And so it's just not such a big priority oftentimes.
I think we'll be able to touch a bit on that later as well. But I think to go back and to find out a bit more about yourself and your own career journey would be great. I know that there's an entrepreneurial spirit there as well in terms of founding your own companies. But if you just kind of give me a bit of a background of yourself in your own career journey and how you ended up at Appian as well.
Yeah, sure. I grew up actually in an entrepreneurial family. My family manufactures solid wood furniture. Okay. So we're a small or medium-sized business in Germany, and somehow I grew up in that environment, and for me it was always clear that I wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
But then, of course, you need a business idea first, right? So that's always,
that would be important. Yeah.
kind of always had the plan, but then I had such broad interests, so I started studying. Of course, I studied economics and anthropology. Later on, innovation management and entrepreneurship. So that gave me a really broad basis.
Of course,
Then I started working in the automotive industry as a technology analyst, really looking a bit more into how these industrial processes work and in general technology forecasting. It's a very interesting space. So I was, on the one hand, while I was still studying, finding my first business, which is a brand and e-commerce company for solid wood furniture. So we manufacture tables and chairs. You can configure them in our own configurator on the web page. And so that's what I started while still studying, but I always wanted to do something more with technology. So that's why at some point I just went on and looked for people with a technology that also wanted to start a business. And I was at a workshop at the Hasso-Plattner Institute, and there I met Rami and Thomas, who both just finished their PhDs, and they were working on a technology called process mining that I've never heard about before, and the whole world of business process improvement was completely new to me. I mean, a little bit, I had it from like the manufacturing industry. Of course, I heard about Lean and Six Sigma, but like really how big this business was, I wasn't really aware of it. And when they told me that what process mining does is actually automating the work of what consultants are doing manually today, like interviewing people, looking at things, manually stopping time, and that process mining is actually a software that automates this process by looking at data and then actually providing evidence of what is happening in a process. So I thought that sounds like a cool idea.
Yeah, exactly.
Really makes sense. So we went on and founded Lana Labs together. We got a lot of public funding. We had investors, a startup journey where we also met Roboyo at some events during that time already.
Cool.
So that was really nice to kind of also start that journey together in the automation and process analysis field. Then at some point we met Appian. And that was just a really great match because our vision at Lana Labs was actually to help our customers improve every day, kind of like this continuous improvement thing. But when you look at it a bit more strictly, what process mining does is it analyzes the process and it shows you where you have improvement potential. But then you kind of have to act on your own, right, to really solve the problem. And by combining our solution, like by integrating process mining into the Appian platform, that was, of course, an amazing story because then customers could actually analyze the processes and directly act upon it. And that was really a very nice occasion how this vision we always had then also came to reality. So very nice fit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I suppose when I kind of looked into your background of the entrepreneurial side, I was wondering kind of where that comes from because normally it comes from a family, but of course I didn't know. And is it, growing up around it, you just kind of feel the spark for wanting to do something yourself and to work for yourself? Was that always something that you kind of wanted to do?
Yeah, I think so. It's also, I think I have a strong sense of you can do anything that you want to do, right? And kind of that spirit. I think like also the company of my family, like when I was younger, we were still smaller, so it also grew over the last 10, 20 years, and kind of also seeing how, like, of course, how much hard work everyone put into that, right? But also, if you put hard work, you will get a result, right? And I think maybe it's that kind of spirit that I really,
really fulfilled with the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Very good. And I think, companies in general always talk about wanting their employees or other people working within their company to have that entrepreneurial spirit and to be innovative within their role. But, sometimes that can be difficult, but there are always avenues for you to be able to do that within a company. Now that you kind of look at the role that you're in within Appian in terms of director of product, do you feel that innovative spirit and entrepreneurial spirit helps you in that role, and how does it, if so?
So my role at Appian is Director of Product Strategy, which is a bit different than our product organization. So product strategy is looking more broadly at market trends, at future technologies, and really tries to analyze where we should be going in our developments.
Yeah.
We're building prototypes and also think about the whole messaging and what do we want to tell our customers, right?
Of course, yeah.
Because that's the thing in technology. It's so abstract so many times, right? Automation and like to really tell the stories that bring across the value and why you should be doing something. That's something I'm working with. And maybe back to your point, also why I always wanted to be an entrepreneur is because I want to have impact. And of course, that was a question, when going from being the boss to an employee, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does that transition work?
Yeah, it's a tough transition, I'm sure.
But I mean, I think it depends a bit on how you look at it,
Exactly.
right? Because this impact, I mean, Appian is a much larger organization than Lana Labs was, right?
Yeah.
And I get to talk to many people. I get to talk on stages and have many people listen.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about continuous improvement, and that's a topic that's important to me because I believe in it, and I combine it with sustainability. And of course, I know that's only a side effect, and maybe also, of course, not the core business of Appian. But I think it's just important that these connections are pointed out, that we talk about these things, and. I think, therefore, I do have impact, and that's what matters in that sense. And if the role is CEO or Director of Product Strategy, that doesn't really matter.
Exactly, yeah. And I think that's a great kind of outlook and approach to have for anyone in any company, really. I mean, you have your title or your role, but if you feel like you're being fulfilled or you have kind of an opportunity to express yourself or to work on something that you're very passionate about and to be able to spread that message, then it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. And it's if you feel fulfilled and you feel like you're achieving something, and of course helping the greater good or your company in general, then that's all you can hope for. In terms of the partnership with Appian and Roboyo and the expertise that Appian have, how do you think that benefits the customers and our clients, I suppose, in terms of their journey within continuous improvement?
Yeah. So I think the magic here, again, is in combining technology and expertise, in Roboyo's case, in Six Sigma and Lean, which is exactly what I'm trying to promote, right? Combining this methodology and the technology in order to really enable continuous improvement. That was like used to be a very costly thing to do, and today it can be done much more efficiently. And that is something that might require support, though, like consulting or just someone that guides you through the process, as some customers might not have their own centers of excellence or lean practices. And that's why I think that this combination of having this consulting approach and then being able to select the technologies that are right for the customer, help them implement it and guide them along their way, I think that's definitely very, very beneficial.
Yeah. We spoke earlier on a different episode about the balance that Roboyo has in general of the consulting side, and then having the technology side as well, and having experts in both fields to be able to bring in the expertise of Appian as well, to be able to provide the best solution for the client.
Yeah.
have you seen examples in your past of maybe an implementation gone wrong in a way where maybe that lean element was missing and someone went in straight with automation? Because you've spoken about the importance of maybe automation isn't always the solution. Can you give me some insights at all into times you went, oh no, this is the wrong way of doing it?
I mean, maybe because when we started Lana Labs, our process mining company, I would say maybe 1 or 2 years later, the RPA trend started to boom.
Okay, yeah.
And that was, of course, something where we were also thinking, okay, is that something we need to consider? And then we kind of assessed for us that well, I mean, RPA is, of course, can be one solution, but we kind of never considered it as a core technology, actually.
Yeah.
Because we believe that, before you automate anything, you should analyze the process, because you can put as much RPA to your process as you want. If you didn't make the analysis before, you don't know if that's efficient or not, or if it will cause another problem in a different stage of the process. So I think in this very generic way, of course, when there's a new technology on the market, there's this rush and everyone is trying it out. And I think that is then where you can say the lean aspect or continuous improvement aspect is missing, because first you should be looking at what you have, measure the current state, and then choose the right technologies to improve it. And I think that's sometimes I think when you start with automation without a clear idea of what's going on in your current business, I think that in general is not a good idea, my personal opinion.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair based on the experience you've had. I think you're allowed an opinion on that. When you say that, in your former company, when the RPA boom was kind of happening, and you were kind of considering whether this is something we need to get involved in, when you were discussing this with clients in terms of the journey of continuous improvement and how important it is, was that a difficult conversation to have with them? Were they kind of in the level of maturity where they understood what you were saying, or were they like, no, we need a solution and automation is the way to go? How did you kind of find those conversations with the clients?
Usually I would say, especially in the manufacturing industry where this lean mindset is very common already.
Of course, yeah.
Everyone agrees that it makes sense. Especially when you talk about, legacy systems and how to, transform them, right? And it's like, okay, if you put automation on your legacy processes, that will reproduce a lot of inefficiencies. And that's why a lot of people want to transform their processes first, right? Get the processes right first, which means a lot of work ahead, and then you can look into automation. Yeah.
Do you have any kind of favorites, I suppose, in terms of your favorite case study that you might have got the most improvement from, or favorite kind of engagement that you've had at all over your experience?
I think my favorite engagement was with a large German automotive manufacturer. Where we were really analyzing on the factory floor the production of a very cool car. Everyone knows. And that was something, when something like that happens, because usually in enterprise software, I mean, it's not connected to any kind of consumer product. Usually it's like not so tangible. And then in this manufacturing space, when you know that your software is being used to optimize the production of a product that you also like, and then when you also know that very interesting results were found, because I think process mining is also, especially for the automotive or like manufacturing industry in general, a very interesting case, but it's not the easiest because of the IT system landscape and the way that is structured. But the effects that we can get out of these, really value-creating processes, like the impact is much higher. If I optimize energy consumption, resource waste in a large factory, that's maybe it has more impact on the environment than, I don't know, automating an approval step, for example, or like finding out that automating this would be, of course, better for the customer. I mean, that's a good impact definitely as well, but somehow really having impact on resource waste and those kind of effects. That was just a really nice case study.
I think it's interesting, the conversation around sustainability, because do you think that from your own experience and working on, German clients and then working on more international clients as well, that conversation and the importance of it differs based off the different regions? You spoke earlier about that it might not be a priority for some clients, but is more priority for others. Have you felt that that there's different levels of maturity when it comes to sustainability within different regions or different clients around the world?
Yeah, definitely. And interestingly, that doesn't apply only to sustainability, but if we look at the topic of process in general, that is also something where, I mean, when we look where most of the process mining companies are also, like they're all, like a lot of them are coming from the European countries, because we have this history of process orientation much more. And so that's one difference geographically. And then in terms of sustainability, it's depending, I guess it's a matter of different regulations, right? That drive the change in these fields, because that's the only way we can create a level playing field, apparently, because, I must say, unfortunately, of course, as a company, you will not accept higher cost for the more sustainable production facility, or I don't know, if it puts you in an inferior competitive position, right? So we need strong regulation, of course, to create that level playing field, but kind of to also force everyone playing to do better, right? Yeah. So, and I think there we're a bit further with regulations in Europe, which is why it's a more pressing issue, like the topic of CO2 reporting. Yeah. I mean, when financial regulators, they have to comply with it, and then they don't know how to measure it themselves, right? Like that problem again, but they have to report. Yeah. And it's
like a vicious circle there.
Exactly. Yeah. And so many companies were trying to find solutions for that. And I've talked to many clients, like they try to build, like some try to build in-house tools. They were talking about Excel documents that they're sending out to, every location. People have to fill in information about consumption. Yeah. Then they, bring it all back into one consolidated Excel sheet. And when he wanted to show it to me, it didn't open. Because it was too complex, kind of, and then that's where that's a good way where technology, could help to kind of, you could use forms to collect the data, and
such a simple change as well, like that would make such an impact.
Create workflows to do whatever needs to be done to create that report. But there were no solutions in place, and so everyone had to try to figure out. How will we be able to comply with the new regulations? Yeah. So.
No, I think it's a really interesting conversation in general, because, as you said before, like it's one of the side effects or one of the areas that come along with continuous improvement is the sustainability aspect. But I feel like it needs to be spoken about more, and of course it will be, as you said, with the regulations coming in and more of them coming in. So looking forward to hearing more about it on the keynote speech tomorrow. But yeah, in terms of the key trends coming up, and yourself in like a strategic position within Appian, is there anything in particular that you were kind of looking at or planning for in the future that you feel that we will need to I suppose integrate into our own solutions to help our clients?
It probably would be strange if I would not talk about AI now, I guess.
I think this might be the time.
So I mean, that's that's definitely what it is coming. But that's also something I will touch briefly in the keynote, though, that yes, we will be working with it. Yes, I enjoy working with ChatGPT as well. But on the other hand, we also need to be realistic, I think, in terms of what it can do for us. And again, I'm saying, actually, in so many ways, we have to take 1 or even 2 steps back to get the basis right first.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with automation, just the next level. We don't need to put AI on a bad automation. It will make it even worse, and it will reproduce these negative effects. That's why I think, some development take time, and also in this case, as a society, I think we need to make decisions on how we want this technology to impact our lives. And there are big promises, definitely, but also if we think about energy consumption, is it worth it, right? Do we have I'm saying this a bit, drastically now, of course, but it's something we haven't really looked at yet and measured yet. Like, can we afford it, actually?
Yeah. That's an interesting angle as well.
Let's see.
And what's your personal opinion on it? Because I'm interested in that, because the background that you've had of making those really key decisions for your own business and then moving into more of a strategic role now as well. Like, from your own perspective and from client experience you've had, and now working in a more senior level and overlooking everything, what do you think, I suppose, is the best thing for it, or how do you see it playing out over the next few years?
I've been recently reading a book. It's about agriculture.
Okay.
And it's about a banker. His family had a big farm. A banker that then decided to run the farm of his family. And he wanted to make the most innovative, agricultural hotspot there, like using the latest technologies.
Okay.
Really working with innovation to bring this to the next level. And then he explains how he stands on the field, looks at the plants that are all not looking very good because it's so dry for a month already. And when he realizes that putting more technology, using more technology to grow from this soil that is already so much kind of exploited.
Rotten, exactly, yeah.
He wanted to invest millions in technology to exploit the soil even more efficiently. When he realized that this soil will not be producing for years anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm also thinking about when I'm saying needing to take a step back.
By the processes, yeah.
You need to get the basis right first, because otherwise we won't get anywhere, at least not in the long term. So I think that we really philosophically or as a society, we really need to look at that meta level and understand what's the impact that our business systems are causing, and we need to mitigate those. There's no way around that.
Simple as that, exactly. Yeah. And from my own perspective, with working with clients and with the emergence of ChatGPT and AI over the past, I suppose, year, really, in terms of it becoming extremely mainstream with ChatGPT, the point that you made about everyone wanting to rush to the solution of automation or ChatGPT, I can feel it, like, whenever you're speaking with clients, because they see that you're a digital transformation consultancy and you're working with AI, and that this has to be the solution. There must be no other solution, and you can nearly feel the pressure coming from the other side regarding it. So I think it's more important now than ever before that, as you described it as, yes, you had one step to automation, but this extra step now towards even more AI, it just, I suppose, hammers home the importance of being able to go back to the root cause. Exactly. So I think the analogy that you spoke about there was really good. And it's something that we're seeing a lot more of.
Yeah, and maybe also to tie it even closer together, the example maybe, like what's the key? I think what what will be the single most important thing is data.
Mm-hmm.
And the management of that, and the connecting the data, because that is the basis for our digital business processes.
Yeah.
And I think that will be one of the major challenges and the core thing we have to solve.
Yeah, because I mean, the data is not only important for the automation, but the initial analysis has to be done with this to understand if it's a good process or not, or if it could be better, or where the inefficiencies lie as well. So even using the process mining tool, like you were speaking about, it needs good data to be able to gather proper insights from it as well. So I think that's a great point. And that's something as well that we have that discussion with our clients as well, because they may have the data, but it might be in 5 or 6 different systems and not kind of amalgamated or combined to make it very easy for the processes.
Exactly.
And some clients, the data doesn't exist either. So that's the kind of the roadblocks that you face along the journey.
Yeah, and that's where at Appian we have Data Fabric as a technology where we can do exactly that, like bringing together data from different systems, creating like a virtual data layer, but data stays where it is, but you can work on it. And it's a great technology also to enable that. And I'm glad that it's part of our stack, because we can really move our clients around the circle in full. And that's really, really good.
Just touching on the stack as well that you have within Appian, what's kind of the other ones that you think are really effective along with the data fabric?
Yeah, so Data Fabric at the basis, then now we can debate the order, but for me, of course, then comes process mining.
Of course.
Because, you analyze the data. And then we have, many different solutions. Like, of course, workflow solutions. We have a really nice process modeler with visual drag and drop functionalities where you can really orchestrate nicely across people and bots and decision rules or whatever you decide to put into your process. Of course, robotic process automation as another important technology, and then AI skills for intelligent document processing, or email classification, those kind of solutions.
Yeah.
And then maybe, last but not least, also total experience. I mean, Appian is originally, we are a low-code platform, so our own technology sale that enables to build applications very easily, and also front ends with drag and drop functionality. So, and I think what recently came to my mind that I just thought it's so interesting, because in the beginning, for me, sometimes it wasn't so easy to understand exactly what are clients actually solving, right? Because there's one cool technology or solution we have that's portals, and portals is a web page or form for external clients, like not internal processes, but just a face to the outside world where your customers or whatever can type in information, then it's connected directly to your process and you have all the data in there. And in the beginning, I really didn't understand, like coming from the startup world where, you put up a WordPress website and use some plugin to create a form.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you use, Zapier to connect it with HubSpot, and then you have the data in your system as well, right?
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, it took me a while to understand the magic of that. But then I realized, of course, well, as a startup, you have all these small solutions that you can kind of put together and do it. But if you're a big company, then comes enterprise security and roles and all these kinds, which Appian, of course, also has. We have very high security certifications. So that, of course, some Fortune 500 company cannot use some form, some WordPress plugin to gather clients' data, right? Yeah. And then there are these solutions are not so easy to buy, and that's something that it took me a while to understand, and that's the cool thing that with Appian you can build like all these small applications that you need. I don't know, customer feedback or like smaller approval processes. We have just built a project management application, like all different kinds of applications that are possible with it. So from these very easy things where you need enterprise grade and all the security behind it, but of course then also to very, very complex things that you can then not solve with the existing standard enterprise software, where you need much more flexibility and options to configure. And that's somehow I think the magic that from very easy to very complex use cases that you can solve it with the technologies we have in our stack.
No, it's brilliant. And I think the point you made about the startup environment, I suppose, when you're dealing with lots of different systems, but the ability within that stack to be able to deal with the scale up of so many more systems that are internally, and the security issues that come with that, and to be able to manage all of that is just so important. So to be able to have something that you can rely on, I suppose, that can look after that for any size company, then it's perfect. But I think we'll leave it there. Karina, thanks very much for your time. I really appreciate it. I think it was great to get an insight into your own background and your own career journey, and more into the role that you have within Appian now, and also really looking forward to the keynote speech now tomorrow. So best of luck with it, and thanks again for coming on.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be here.